Costumes ever. Let's talk about that.
Hi, it's J.J. Abrams here on the set of Star Wars Episode 7.
Okay.
Elaborate.
So, with us losing all of that audio, this is going to be a very short episode. In general, something that I touched on and I want to elaborate more is the more I'm switching or being more entertained by stuff that's happening on YouTube, especially channels. Like, there are legit shows happening on YouTube. An example of that would be like the Fine Brothers Kids React to, because it's super intriguing. That's not a real word, but intriguing. And I'm finding more entertainment out of that than I am with these super elaborate like shows and things. Like, I don't need to see another recanter of CSI. I don't want to watch, like, I love Marvel and I love the Marvel movies, the good ones at least, but I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. was good, but meh. Arrow is amazing, but meh. Give me Good Mythical Morning, 5 to 10 minutes in my morning, and watch a guy eat a fucking scorpion. I'm down with that. That was a good show. I don't know if is the stuff that's coming over the main networks bad, or is it my interest has just changed? You know? Does that make sense?
It's probably that your interests have changed. I mean, I've never, like, it's been years and years since I was like a commercial sit down and watch tons and tons of TV type person. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are shows that I really like.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about Game of Thrones. Like, everybody is talking about Game of Thrones and like, and I'm just like, who the fuck cares? Like, I don't want to see that. I want to see some guys dicking around and having a good time. Someone making some obscene shorts, and it's really funny based on the characters that he's created. Because when you have an emo character that's like, woe is my life, and then his mom busts in and says, grow some fucking nuts, that's funny.
I don't know. I mean, it's taste. I prefer to watch things that have a story, which is why I can't get into the YouTube thing. Like, I tried to get it. Like, for a while, I would watch SourceFed a lot, and I watch it every now and then. But like,
you know,
because
they
do news, and they try to do news with the sketches and comedy. But like 9 times out of 10, they report news stories after I've already read the news stories, so there's no point in me actually watching it.
Well, I don't read news stories, so if I was attached to SourceFed, which I probably will be, like, that channel is actually, I believe, owned by DeFranco.
Yeah, DeFranco does SourceFed Nerd, For Human Peoples, and
he has
he has his own channel.
Yeah, he basically has a network.
And see, of all the stuff, I still actually just prefer the Philly D show, Philip DeFranco show, like his thing where he talks about news, and he talks about, because he puts his like own personal opinion into it, and sometimes he makes like jokes and humor to it, but it's nice to like hear his take on things, as opposed to like SourceFed. It's mostly news that's been boiled down to be able to be put into like a 2-minute long video.
Yeah,
and they make jokes.
Well, like the YouTuber that I turned you on to, Jeremy Johns. Like, I love his movie reviews. Like,
yeah, and see, I'll watch those, but I'm not watching that like for entertainment so much as I'm watching it for like information.
Yeah. Well, if you get a chance, like, look into Good Mythical Morning. It is done by these two guys, Rhett and Link. It's their second channel. But they do this little 5 to 10 minute show where they just talk about something. Like, literally, the idea is you show up, you go, hey, gaming controllers. Or, I got one shoved up my ass once. Let's talk about that. And then it's, might be a joke, might not be, but it's funny or interesting. Someday, like, you have no consistency in the sense that, like, the show is going to teach you something or you're just going to watch them compete. It's just two guys having a 5 to 10 minute conversation. Maybe, I think the longest one was like 15 minutes, but after they end the show, they continue recording, but it's more of a relaxed atmosphere. And I think the reason that I'm making a hypothetical right now because I'm assuming things about myself. I think the reason why I'm becoming more entertained by this stuff on YouTube than I am about things that are fictional is I feel like I'm getting a real sense of people, and I don't feel like anybody's acting. It's the same idea as Jon Stewart and
they're acting.
Well, right, but it's
these people aren't like that in real life.
Well, I know
almost across the board.
But
I can guarantee
in
it.
this, no, trust me. I know when they're acting, but when you have two people just hanging out, like they're just talking and talking about some interesting stuff, like you can tell that they're exaggerating themselves a little bit, but there's still something about them that is still there. Some of the channels are shit, not gonna lie, but like I just subscribed to a skateboarding channel because I'm trying to relearn tricks, because I got it stuck in my head that I'm almost 30 and I can't pull a 360 heel, so I'm gonna do that. Because
I don't know.
I
I think
need to do
YouTube
that.
for me was a phase. Like I hit a point where I would watch a lot of YouTube shit, and then I just like got bored of it. Like
Well,
after a while.
I was initially watching a bunch of YouTube because I stopped paying for cable and I wasn't paying for Hulu or Netflix or anything like that, so I just put Hulu on in the background and just let it kind of run. But overall, like, ever since I found the Fine Brothers, I keep spidering into these other, like, produced channels. Like, they're putting some effort behind their things. Like, Jeremy Jahns, for example, like, he puts some effort. Don't get me wrong, it's not like a super production, but he's making sure that he is creating quality, a sense of quality. There is a bit of consistency. The Rhett and Link, though, I got kind of hooked onto them because they came from Raleigh. Like, they moved from Raleigh to California, you know? So I found that really interesting. I think it's also one of those things, it's like, see, hope. I can do that, you know? And I also know that there is kind of a culture out there at the moment, and you could technically make it a living. Like Jeremy Jahns, he gets what, 100,000 views a show, right? Roughly. And if he puts one up a week or one up per movie, so we'll say one a week. That's, I know he makes enough to where he bought a house and he lives in Seattle. Like, that's insane. You know? And it's kind of hopeful. It's like you can do something that is just for you, and if enough people like it, like, you could just continue doing shit just for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like I don't support the YouTubers in doing what they do, or that there aren't channels that I find interesting. For me, it's just not providing the type of entertainment I like. I like stories, and
fair.
like even Game of Thrones is kind of starting to wear on me because it feels like, and there may be more to it because I've not read the books. But certainly
You're one
the
of
major
those?
events. Huh?
You're one of those. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, no, like, the thing is, I don't want to get involved with shows. It's one thing. If a show gets canceled, I'm like, oh well. And I don't know why that is, but when a show gets canceled, I'm just like, nah, okay. But when a book series doesn't get finished because the author's really old and unhealthy and he dies and, like, I don't get to finish my books, that irks me. And so until George R.R. Martin cranks out those last 2 to 3 books, I ain't going to start reading them. Because I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to get, like, 6 books in, and then he croaks. Because some authors leave behind extensive notes, and they, like, actually make it known that they want somebody to ghostwrite and finish for them if they die. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it was Robert Jordan wrote the Wheel of Time series that way. George R.R. Martin doesn't. And I understand, it's a personal choice. Like, he doesn't want anybody to finish his books if he doesn't finish them. That's his choice. It's his story. He doesn't want anyone else to fuck it up. That being said, I'm choosing not to buy his product until he finishes it. Because, fuck that. But yeah, no, like, certainly the events of the show are probably the events of the book. The characters may be depicted differently, or there may be tonal differences, but the way he, like, brutally kills off characters that you like and things like that, you know, it happens a few times and you're like, oh, cool, this is a unique way to tell a story. But after it's happened like a dozen times, you're just like,
how did you not see
okay,
that
where
coming?
is this going? Like, eventually all of the likable characters will be dead, and it's just gonna be the bastards. And, like, maybe that's his point. Like, maybe his point is that, like, he's trying to make some allegory for the current political landscape, that to be able to get ahead, to be able to survive, you have to play the game, you have to be a complete tool bag. Mm-hmm. And if that's your point... If that's your point, that's the kind of point you leave to one book. You don't write 8 books about that. And it just feels like 4 seasons into the show, like, we've not seen, every time a character becomes, like, heroic, some bad shit happens to him, and it just gets tired after a while. Like, it started off as being novel storytelling. You're like, oh, hey, that's a new way to do something. But then after a while, it's just like, well, apparently it's the only way he's going to do it. So essentially he's telling an opposite story, basically. And it just, I don't know. Like, yeah. I'll keep watching the rest of this season, but, like, the thing that happened the last episode just kind of pissed me off.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not watching Game of Thrones at all, but my roommate is, and that final scene was happening, and, like, it caught my attention. I had no context, no idea what was going on.
Yeah, spoiler alert for people who have not seen it.
Fucker dies.
Yeah.
Apparently both of them. So from my perspective, like, they were kind of in this battle, and the dude was on his back, and he has this dude sitting over him.
Well, Oberyn, the short one with the spear, like, he was just, like, dancing around him, and he, like, cut him a couple of times and stabbed him with the spear a couple of times. But he wanted the guy to confess to, like, raping and murdering his sister and her children.
Yeah. Okay. Like, from my perspective, I had no context of that. I walked in, and there's this guy laying on his back, and then this other dude kind of standing over him. They're having these words, and the dude just grabs his head and crushes it and then dies. Dude, that was fucking hilarious. You just got this guy, he's like, oh, and apparently had a aneurysm and, like, passes out. And everybody's just got this...
He didn't, like, pass it. He was already, like, down. Oberyn had, like, stabbed him a few times and, like, thought he had won, basically. And in the book, supposedly, the Mountain, which is the big guy that popped the other dude's head, like, supposedly in the book, he doesn't die right away. Like, he's, like... in recovery because the spear was poisoned and he might die, because, like, the whole point is, like, their duel was to decide the innocence or guilt of another man, because in Game of Thrones they do trial by combat where you have 2 other people fight, and if your fighter wins, you're innocent. They even make the guy that, like, Tyrion, the little the guy that's played by Peter Dinklage, they call him the Imp, his character. Like, he even makes that comment. He's like, what kind of, like, he's like, that should tell you something about the gods if, like, to decide your innocence, you have 2 other men that aren't even you, like, fight to the death.
That's the way we need it. UFC battle, guilty or innocent. I bet there's so many criminals like Dahmer. Did he do it? Don't know. Watch these guys fight. No, he didn't eat those faces. No, back into society.
Yeah, so no, the show is very much aware of like how like intellectually bankrupt that system is, but they do it anyway.
Yeah,
because it's custom. But yeah, no, I mean it just like
that's hilarious.
I mean, it seems like his message there in killing that character off was to be like, you see, he wasn't playing the game. He was too focused on revenge, and so he got killed. And it's just like, God damn it. It's what happened. Like the whole Stark family almost has been killed at this point. Like because every time one of them's like, I'm like Rob Stark. He's like, I'm the leader of the North. I'm the leader, and then he got killed. It's like, yeah, well that's what happens when you try to be Braveheart, dude.
Yeah.
Not in the Game of Thrones universe. You don't get to be a hero in this universe because then you get killed. And I mean, to an extent, it's interesting because then it gets to like focus on other characters and how they're doing good things. Like Jaime Lannister started off as kind of a tool, and like over time his character has evolved into something you like. He does it kind of like the OC, where characters that you hate at first like become characters that you like.
Yeah.
The problem is like I have this worry that once you like the character, he'll then kill them, and it's just like, God damn it.
They're following the Walking Dead model. If you like that character, kill it.
Well, yeah, except The Walking Dead is afraid to kill, like, some characters. Like, Daryl, because he wasn't in the books, the comic books, they're not obligated to kill him at any given point.
Yeah.
But he's also the fan favorite character. So, like, you never feel like he's in any danger. Because everybody likes him so much, they're not going to kill him off.
Which is why you off that guy. Like, one of the things that
and if he were on Game of Thrones, Daryl would have died like 2 seasons ago. But The Walking Dead, they're like, nah, we can't kill the guy that's making people watch the show.
Definitely
like Rick.
awesome.
Rick's the obvious main character. They won't kill him off until the actor's tired of playing him.
Fair. But I guess my entertainment is changing. I guess. I don't know. Like, maybe it's because I'm stuck behind a computer more often these days. In general, it's just, I feel that the stuff that's happening on YouTube, and it may be because, like, I'm a little bored with stories. In general, I love stories. It's part of the reason why I believe, like, some of the best video games are that way. That kind of stuff. Overall, I don't feel the entertainment's necessarily there. Like, it's this, like, I know how the story's gonna end. It's probably why I haven't watched a movie. Like, one of the last movies I watched was Veronica Mars, because I got to see something I never felt was finished kind of have a completion to it. Like, it ended very well, and it filled that void that I had from something I loved. Prior to that, I think, like, The Expendables I watched, and I walked into that with the expectation that I'm going to go see something that I don't see very often or haven't seen much of, and it's going to be done really well. Which it was. Like, if you go into Expendables expecting, like, Shakespeare, you have walked into the wrong fucking movie. Your mindset is wrong. You walk in there, and as Jeremy Johns put it, bullets. It is bullets, bullets, bullets. It is a fun time. You go there to just have a blast. And that's what
it's still not too much to expect that the story to a movie makes sense, which is kind of the problem I have with the first Expendables. It was entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really simple concept. It
didn't have a very fantastic, cohesive plot, though.
No.
Your plot doesn't have to be good. It just has to make sense. And I didn't really feel like The Expendables made sense the first one.
That's part of the thing that I liked about it, is it just...
And the, like, half-assed way they tried to, like, build up characters' backstories and just,
I still had a
they're
good time.
fun, mindless movies to watch, but they're not like, I don't know. For me, the point of a story is because all stories are going to end, all stories are going to begin, and there aren't but so many ways to begin and end a story. Like, very few movies surprise me as far as how they end. It's about how you get there. It's the middle part that to me matters. Endings that I do really enjoy are the endings that you don't expect, and that it's very hard. It's getting harder and harder actually to pull out an ending that you don't expect without it being like completely disingenuous. Like, it was all a dream. Like,
God damn it.
like without throwing, because a lot of movies do that because they feel like they have to surprise the viewer, but they don't like give you any kind of clues because they know if they give you clues you'll figure it out. So like, a lot of movies just end with this random ass twist just to have a twist, and it's like, well, that's fake. I mean, that's disingenuous.
Well, like, in my perspective, there's... Here, I'm going to tell you a story really quick.
But like endings, just like to give you one example of endings I like because they're just like, they're fucking. It's an awful ending, but like The Mist, I love the ending to that movie. Spoiler alert if you've never seen The Mist.
Fuck them.
At the end, guy takes his revolver because they run out of gas in their car while they're trying to drive out in the mist, and he kills everyone else in the car and runs out of bullets and can't kill himself. And then like 2 minutes after he does that, the army shows up. They're like burning the mist away with flamethrowers, and like everything's gonna be okay. Dude just killed every one of his friends and his like son, his like 6-year-old son. He like shot in the face with a revolver like 2 minutes before the fucking army shows up.
That's irony.
And it's just Tom Jane like he just has a mental breakdown and just starts like screaming, and like, it's an awful ending. That's a fucking
wonderful.
Awful way to end a movie. But I liked it because you didn't see that shit coming. Even if you read the story, because Stephen King doesn't even end the story that way. He wasn't that cruel.
And he's pretty cruel in general.
Yeah, Stephen King's pretty brutal to some of his characters. But shit. I mean, when that ending happened to that movie, I was like, oh man, that's awful. Now he's like by himself. He's gonna have to like jump off a cliff to kill himself. And then the army shows up and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
He just killed all those people and his own son. That's I
mean,
that's not cool.
Does that prove there's something like broken in me where, like, if I was watching that and let's assume I got hard into that movie, like, I guarantee you the second like the army shows up, I would have busted out laughing. Am I that broken inside? Meh, probably.
I don't know that that's broken. I mean, to an extent.
Dude, if my reaction is
comedy
laugh.
comedy and horror work on the same like basic principles, subverting expectation. So to an extent, that is funny. It's dark. It's very, very dark humor. It's a cosmic, ironic joke that they're making.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're supposed to laugh at it, but like laughing isn't a wrong interpretation, I wouldn't say, of that ending.
You're really, really reaching.
I'm not reaching. I'm just like trying to suss it out. I mean,
well, like you also sound like you're trying to convince yourself at the same time.
I think if you laughed at everything that was horrifying in life, that would signify something was wrong with you as an individual. But in that particular movie, that particular instance, that's supposed to be a very cruel irony, and irony is funny. I mean,
fair enough. But
even
but I guess from my stance of a story is, I don't always need something that's in depth. Like, some of the things that I enjoy the most have a super in-depth story. Take Final Fantasy VII, for example. Like, the second they killed Aeris, you're, like, in that. You're like, shit's going down. And that happens, like, really early in the game. In their Uncharted series, 1 was okay, but 2 was amazing. You look at Indiana Jones, excellent story arcs. and they're just good stories. But
I
sometimes
don't have to have in-depth stories either, dude.
Well,
like,
I know,
like
I know.
Avatar. We talked about Avatar and all that audio that got lost. Like,
oh yeah,
Avatar
that's right.
doesn't have a great story, but I'm still entertained by it visually.
The second I gotta go back and watch it because I've only watched it once. But when I watched it the first time, the second they said unatamium, I was like out. That seriously just checked me out of the entire story. Because hands down, the title of that material was just lazy. Or of
I
that
think
mineral.
it's a name. I think it's a name that's meant to be kind of jokey. I don't think they mean it like seriously. Having gone back and watched it a couple of times now,
Uh-huh.
like I don't think they mean it like seriously. I think it's just. I think that's like an unofficial name for it.
Okay. It's like when I was watching it the first time, the second they talked about unatanium, don't get me wrong, like I still enjoyed-ish the movie. It was just like, okay, so this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. But
They use the same
said,
word in that movie, the core. When they
I-
talk about like building that fucking drill submarine thing to like go to the Earth's core and
Oh, I've never seen
stop
that.
the world from... Like I never actually watched it either. I just have seen clips of it, and I
Mm-hmm.
know there's a scene where they're like asking the scientist guy, who I think is played by Ving Rhames, but I could be wrong. Like they're like, "Your design, we need to build it," and he's like, "Do you know how much it would cost? That's the reason they've not built it yet." He's like, this material is called like unobtainium, like that's the word they use for it. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah, the second the term came out, like I checked out. I was gone.
I don't know. It wasn't like, even if they do like mean it seriously, it's not enough for me to check out of Avatar, because I mean I didn't check out of episode 1 when they were like, ooh, let's get a sample of Anakin's blood. He's got a lot of midichlorians. Wait. So you mean we've had 3 Star Wars movies before this one, and a bunch of books and video games, and not once has any of them mentioned midichlorians? And then you're just gonna drop that shit on us, George? Really?
That didn't check me out. That didn't check me out. Like
It checked me out because they were just like inventing an entirely like new. It's like the midichlorians to me represent the Munchkin bullshit that is the like power levels of mutants in the Marvel universe. You're a level 3 mutant, like level. It's like completely speculative bullshit that doesn't actually like matter. Like and it's not like it's based on whoever's writing it at the time. They think Magneto is super powerful, but then like some other writers like, nah, dog. It's all about long shot because he's lucky, because he could get lucky and hit Magneto with like a bean and kill him. Like,
Well,
it's like,
I guess from my perspective, the way that I look at the midichlorian thing is, this is during the height of all of that. So I would think that they would have looked into what actually causes the Force, and that they would have discovered there is a reason that people have it. So don't get me wrong, midichlorians, that's a dumb word, but
well, yeah, but see, the whole like old Star Wars movies, they don't play it off as like it's something you're born with a magical gift for. They play it off as like, if you train, you can do it. Like they even like, I mean, they say that Luke's old when Yoda's training. He's like, he's too old, but like, they still train him, and like, so they make it seem like it's something that you learn, and not like, I was born with O blood type. Like, ugh. And then like he mentions it that one time in episode 1, like, well, I mean, it probably comes up a couple of times in episode 1, like just in casual conversation. But there's really that one scene where he's like looking at the weird computer thing that looks like the shit from Akira, and like, is talking about it, and that's it. He's like, or maybe I'm making the Akira thing up, but anyway, he like talks about that shit like one time, and then like that's it. It's not in episode 2. It's not in episode 3. You know, it's talking about, oh man, Mace Windu's gonna whip out his purple lightsaber on him because he's got a big long midichlorian count. Yeah, know what I'm saying? Like no one's ever dropping that kind of shit in the rest of the movies. He mentions it one time because he couldn't think of another creative way to say that Anakin was special. Mm-hmm. Like, he couldn't just have Qui-Gon Jinn be like, man, I'm sensing some crazy shit about this kid. He seems like he might be important.
He's gonna murder everyone!
Because George Lucas is like, he has to fuck with things. He had to be like, man, I have to have a number. Like, fucking, he has to have a number. Because I just got done watching, like, Season 2 of Dragon Ball Z. And, like, they have numbers. And that was cool. Like, I just, like, that, the whole midichlorian thing just, like, bugged me. Because there was all this stuff that existed before Star Wars Episode 1, and it never gets mentioned in any of it until Episode 1. When he couldn't think of a better way to say what he wanted to say.
Yeah, it's also the only time that you ever see them use a medical reason to help define why people are different. It's the only time it's mentioned. But I'm okay
Plus,
with it.
there's the whole, like, casual mention that he's a virgin birth.
Oh,
and that
yeah,
shit's
that's
just
right.
mentioned casually. Like, they don't even make a big deal out of that. I'm like, oh, whoa, hold on. Let's reverse back to the part where she just said that he didn't have a dad, because that's weird. Why aren't we talking about that? Qui-Gon, you might want to leave his little ass there in the sand, because that's some weird shit.
Did you go see a doctor about this? Were you raped?
Did your gynecologist, like, tell you that your, like, weird space human species just has, like, random pregnancies, or what? Like, what happened?
Did you fuck yourself? Like, is there a penis, like, constantly just ejaculating in your vagina? That is
like
a enticed of you.
Galactic turkey baster that, I mean, like, I don't, like, there's not no time is spent, like, explaining that in Episode 1, and you're just like, huh? That's kind of a big deal that you just, like...
You remember that planet
The human
Earth?
beings watching this, the only time most of them are aware that a virgin birth has ever been mentioned in history is Jesus, even though that's not the case, because there are plenty of other mythological beings that were born virgin or semi-virgin births before Christ, the little Christ fairy tale was ever actually invented. But
you're like, let's explain Jesus, and then not explain him, and then write him
and
off.
they're like, did they just say Anakin was Jesus?
Wait a minute, what? In a galaxy far, far away, there was this crazy little planet called Earth, and they had this Jesus character. He might be this other guy. Remember that?
Although Jesus would have been pretty cool if he dressed in black and had a red sword.
That glowed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take that, Pontius Pilates.
Yeah.
You see him, like, force choking some Romans.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. Like, he drops these big bombs in Episode 1, and then he never, like, they never go back to it. Ever.
Wait. I want my Bible. I want to read the version of the Bible where every instance of Jesus and his miracles are replaced with shit Darth Vader did. Like, that's an idea.
Hey, man, there is, like, I think it's Episode 2?
What?
No. Episode 3, where Palpatine's talking to Anakin about, well, you know, there was this one Sith guy that they said could bring people back from the dead. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Jesus could bring people back from the dead. Just saying. Just saying.
Wait. Okay,
Maybe
hold
Jesus
on.
was a Sith.
Hold on. I missed that part. Okay, so there was a Sith Lord that was basically a necromancer, and people are like, meh, it's a thing. Like,
Well,
wait, let's focus on that for a minute.
They never tell you if he's just, like, lying about it, or if, like, it was a legit Sith Lord. I mean, I'm sure there's, like, a book about it or a video game, but, like, they don't actually have to acknowledge that shit as canon. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, in Episode 3, when Anakin starts having his, like, visions of Padme, like, dying in labor or whatever, like, he's like, yeah, you know, the Sith could do that, they say. Just, you know, not that I'm a Sith Lord, but I've studied their history, and they could do that. And then, like, when he does his little conversion to the dark side, Palpatine's like, yeah, I totally never learned how to do that, but I'm pretty sure you and I can figure it out. We're two smart dudes. We can figure out how to bring people back from the dead.
I'm
Thanks
just
for killing, like, the only black Jedi.
I'm just sitting on the fact that like there was an idea that apparently if your force is strong enough, you can make zombies, and it's cool.
Well, he made it sound like it was legit resurrection, not zombies. Like, oh, you're dead? Ha! Now you're not dead. Which, I mean, makes sense.
Bullshit.
Guess,
like, if you die and come back, you're a fucking zombie. Like, those people that are dead for seconds and then are revived, no, fuck that shit. They were gone. They came back.
If that ever happens to me, I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna be like, I'm a zombie. I was dead.
Like, I am, like, the second I come to and am back into the world, like, I am a zombie across my chest. That tat is happening. Or maybe on the forehead. It's like, I died. I was dead for this long. I came back to life. Zombie.
I mean, the power, like, makes sense within the context of what they say the Force is, about manipulating, like, the midichlorians that exist in apparently, like, everything. Because that's not weird.
Creepy.
It doesn't defy everything we know about, like, physics and chemistry. But it's in a galaxy far, far away, so okay. We'll let it slide.
A different universe doesn't matter. Look at Japan. They make anime that defies everything that we know.
Well, technically, they're fictional, which is the big takeaway.
What? You mean that shit's not real?
Characters.
Man, I was hoping I could get a fucking Chewie as a pet. Like, wouldn't it be hilarious if the Star Wars universe was a micro-universe? So you could actually, like, bottle it?
That'd be kind of weird.
Like, I want to go buy the Ewok civilization. You could get it. That'd be kind of cool. Now I want that.
Damn it, West.
Be like, what is it, Kandor?
Oh yeah, the Bottle City, Bottle City of Kandor, whatever they call it.
Yes, I want that. Let's do that with the Star Wars universe. Like, look at my collection. Oh man, I don't have a Darth Vader. Exactly, because there's one, and I got him. Sell them to you. For what? You're Luke and Leia. All I got is this
way cooler
stupid
than his
Death Star.
kids.
Say what?
Vader's way cooler than his kids.
I don't know, Luke.
That's the other thing I've never gotten is like George Lucas spent all this time like telling this excellent story about how Anakin was like the most powerful thing ever in the history of ever, and then like there's all this expanded universe shit where like the people are even more powerful, and I'm like, well then technically that kind of like nullifies the whole point of like Anakin being special, because like any one of these other people could have come along and done the same thing he did like 20 years later.
I know what it was. It was...
But I'm an Anakin purist. Like, I prefer to think of him as being like this unique, awesome thing.
Yeah,
honestly, and his power, he would have been like a way more powerful Sith Lord had like Obi-Wan not taken 3 of his limbs.
No, it has nothing to do with that. The only reason he is not a better Sith Lord is because he was acted badly. Just cried all the fucking time.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he was such an emotional child.
Well, I mean, that's the point, is like he let his emotions control him.
Yeah.
That's not what Jedi do, but...
And
like the reason he's not powerful is because he's on the respirator. He like all 4 of his limbs are fake. So like he has less organic matter in his body, less midichlorians, less.
I thought there was only
ability to manipulate the Force.
I thought he only had 3 missing limbs.
No, because remember he lost the one arm in Episode 2 fighting with Dooku and got a fake
right.
arm. And then like Obi-Wan took the other arm and both legs in Episode 3.
Right, I forgot about that. Remember when he had that, like, crazy-ass arm? Like, what the fuck? Like, why the fuck did he have this, like, golden awkward extension?
Yeah, that janky, like, metal arm he had at the end of Episode 2.
Yes!
Like, please put a glove on that and just pretend it's robotic, because that looks stupid. I don't want to see that next movie.
Yeah. Like, it was for a ceremony, right?
Oh no, it's like at the end when he's getting married to Padme. Like,
That's right.
He's got a metal arm.
Yeah, for a ceremony. Like, when you get that fitted on, do you just look at it and be like, yeah, that's the shit? Like, no one just looked at it and was like, maybe not. Maybe you shouldn't wear that. It doesn't look good. Like, bad. Bad is the first word that comes to my mind. Secondly, revolting. It's kind of like one of those things that people design and for like steampunk and post online and then put it under a glass, and it's like, ooh. When it's done like that, yeah. You attach that to a body, shouldn't do it. Just
I'm kind of excited for J.J. Abrams' new Star Wars stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm
I was
totally
excited
okay.
for Ant-Man. I'm not excited for Ant-Man anymore. It's
Zero,
like that's been completely ruined, I think.
zero fucks about Ant-Man.
Hey, man, don't knock Ant-Man.
No, just like when it comes to the J.J. Abrams and Star Wars, like I don't care anymore. One of the things that makes me the most happiest is George Lucas isn't involved, and I'm completely okay with that because I've read a couple of articles on like why Lucasfilms went down and why LucasArts went down and stuff like that, and it's just because no one would take the time to tell George Lucas no. Like, George Lucas would have an idea, and instead of people sitting there figuring this shit out, they were just like, oh shit, we need to do it. So George Lucas was his own problem. And he should have been separated more.
I mean, his businesses were still insanely profitable. It's just that anytime he was involved in making a movie, he would make the movies themselves not good.
Well, same with the games. There were a bunch of games that had some shit in it, and he would just I forget what article I was reading. I think it was in a Game Informer about LucasArts, and he would just walk into the room and be like, he would look at some drawing, or he would just be like, hey, and he would have an idea, which is really cool, but instead of sitting down and fleshing out that idea and working with somebody on whether or not that was a good idea, he just was like, yeah, do that. And it would backtrack a fuck ton of work instead of sticking with where they were going.
Well, I mean, you got to think, like, before he sold it to Disney, Star Wars is George Lucas. I mean, it was his brand. Like,
no, I know.
I don't fault him for wanting creative control over his universe. Like, I don't even know how thrilled he was about the Force Unleashed games, like completely altering the canon that took place between the two trilogies. Like, I mean, on the one hand, it's a really cool story, but on the other hand, like, he's got to consider, does that alter anything about what I created?
Well, and in general, I just know he got in the way of things being consistent. So shit was just thrown in left and right.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell if it's a lateral shift, like George Lucas getting in the way or Disney greenlighting anything and everything that they know kids will buy. Like,
well, the fact that J.J. Abrams is involved, like, I have no worries.
We'll
like,
see. Oh no, as far as the movies, no, but I imagine they're going to pop out like random cartoons and shit that might suck, or they'll do like spin-off movies that'll suck, and like, I don't know. Like, I'm on the fence until I see some finished products from Disney about whether or not this stuff's going to be good. I'm not 100% sure selling it was the right idea. I mean, I may not have agreed with everything George Lucas did, but like, Disney's Disney, man. So far they haven't managed to like screw up the Marvel stuff, but
well, they've also got a bunch of contracts written with the Marvel company that some things have to be finished before Disney actually has full control over these franchises. I remember at the time of the sign over, there was something about like the X-Men movie. Like they had these already planned, so these still happen under like the Marvel company name on its own before Disney is attached. sort of
I
thing.
wonder what
It's
it would
just they're
have to
doing-
do with the X-Men, because technically the X-Men movies aren't a part of Marvel. They're owned by Fox.
Don't know. I
'Cause-
honestly don't know.
No,
Like, oh.
fucking Marvel would love it if they got the X-Men back. They could.
It may not have been X-Men then. It may have been, like, I don't know, Spider-Man or something. I just know that they already had some projects.
Spider-Man's owned by Sony. X-Men is owned by Fox. Fantastic Four was almost gonna revert back to Marvel,
owns
but
Avengers?
it's still owned by Fox.
Who owns Avengers?
The Hulk owned the Avengers and all of the stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was done by Marvel.
Okay, so it might have been that. I just know they had some projects going on at that time with the Marvel Soul name attached to it, and the way the contract was written is, like, basically Disney doesn't have full control over Marvel itself until, like, 2015. All these other projects have to end first. But they have Disney money to do it. So, cool.
Yeah, like I think the only major properties that aren't back under the Marvel roof right now, because Daredevil's reverted because the number of years on the contract between movies went over, so Fox or whoever had it had to give it back. Which means Elektra's probably due to be back.
Uh-oh.
If she didn't go with Daredevil. Let's see. Ghost Rider might be back. The Punisher might be back. I don't know how long their contracts were with whoever else owned those. But right now, the only major players that aren't owned by Marvel that look to have movies that will continue to come out are X-Men, because Fox is going to milk that for all it's worth.
Yep.
Spider-Man, Sony's going to milk that universe for all it's worth. And Fantastic Four, which if Josh Trank, I think is his name. I know his last name's Trank. If his Fantastic Four bombs, Fox will probably let that contract expire and give the Fantastic Four back to Marvel.
Yeah,
Which, there's like all these rumors now that Marvel Studios is like telling people not to write Fantastic Four or put up or promote Fantastic Four in any way. Like they're trying to sabotage the movie so that it does bad, so that they can get the property back, but that's rumor. That's not really like confirmed. I mean, it would make sense. Like it would make sense at this point for Marvel to try to get like everything it can back.
Yeah.
And mostly because it can't even use like side characters that exist in the X-Men universe as X-Men. Like fucking Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and Avengers: Age of Ultron can't even be mutants. Because like the whole idea of mutants is owned by Fox now for the purposes of making movies. So they're like powers come from fucking Loki's staff that he dropped in the like first movie. Well, the first Avengers. It's like
Fortunately, it's one of those things that they could be mutants. They just never say anything about it.
No, they do.
They should.
The very end credit after the credits, the after credit scene in Captain America shows them being like pumped with the staff, basically. And what's his face, Von Strucker or whatever. Like, one of the villains from Captain America universe is like the one doing the experiment.
Gotcha.
Part of Hydra. Like he's making them basically.
Gotcha. But
that's because they can't. It's because they can't use the word mutant.
Yeah.
It's like that's fucking stupid.
Yeah. They whatever.
But yeah, as long as Fox pumps out an X-Men movie every X number of years, they keep the rights.
Well, and they happen to be making really
and they're
good
doing
movies
a pretty good job of it right now. Like now that they've got Bryan Singer back involved with it, the stuff is improving.
Yeah.
Especially now that they just used Days of Future Past to completely wipe the board and erase all the other movies.
Fair enough. And we get Age of Apocalypse.
None of that shit happened.
Oh.
Because time travel.
Butterfly wing? Whoosh. Remember the Ashton Kutcher movie? It's true. Oh. Hey, was Ashton Kutcher a mutant in The Butterfly Effect? Maybe.
He could have been.
Uh-oh.
He was like Cable.
Every time he used his time travel, he like tried to kill himself.
Hey, he did lose his arms.
True.
The butterfly. Is this the secret Marvel movie? Did we get a Cable movie and not even know it?
Maybe. Oh, actually, okay. So, did you watch both endings?
Ashton Kutcher does look like he could be the child of James Marsden.
Yeah, but where did he get the disease? The phalanx? Shit.
Phalanx disease?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Does he have like funny syphilis or anything in the movie?
Actually, he did. I think. Yeah, didn't he pick it up when he traveled like to the future or something? Anyway. Shit.
At this point, it's been so goddamn long since I watched The Butterfly Effect. I don't even remember like anything about it, except that I liked it.
No, it was a good movie.
It was a pretty decent movie, and I haven't watched it in years. I need to sit down and watch it again.
Did you watch both endings? Did you watch the cinematic ending and the uncut ending?
Oh yeah, they're like the alternate ending where he goes back and like kills himself in the womb.
Yes. Okay, which one do you prefer? Because he dies in both, basically, right? Yeah.
No, I thought he was alive at the end of the regular one. He just had to like completely change everything and not try to like be with the girl or whatever. Yeah. Like I don't know. Right. I have to watch it again because I really don't remember. But I think he's alive because I think the like last scene in the regular theatrical like shows him walking on a street or something right past her and they don't like recognize each other or something.
It was a birthday party thing. He walks up to her and he's like, "I hate you. Never talk to me again."
Yeah, something like that. But like, I don't know. I think that's probably a more peaceful ending. Although,
which ending do you prefer?
I don't know. I don't think either one is better than the other. That one's probably a neater ending because, excuse me. I don't know. He doesn't. He can't anticipate what's going to happen as a result of killing himself before he's even born. Like, that could make an even shittier future.
True. Fair enough.
So, I don't know. I feel like that might be a logical response. Like, if I were in his shoes, I might just be like, fuck it. And do that. But at the same time, like, I feel like the other one probably makes more cohesive sense with, like, time travel aspects of the story.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that...
They both have their merits, in other words.
Yeah, I thought his power was actually pretty cool in the movie, in the sense of, like, he would have blackout times, and shit went down, in general, and then he'd come to, and everything was kind of okay. But for the fact that he erased all those blackout times, and he may never have ventured back in time at that point. We know the blackouts still happen, they just don't happen at the same points anymore. You know?
Yeah.
So, thought that was really interesting. And the fact that he had to read his old journals to remember that point when he started to black out. That was also really interesting.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. Like, and that's one of the few movies that Ashton Kutcher was in that I like didn't hate him in, and he gets like no credit for it. You're just like, I hate Ashton Kutcher. And I'm like, he's really not that bad.
No, he's a pretty good actor.
He's not fantastic, but he ain't terrible either.
I mean, that movie that he did with Natalie Portman, Just Friends? No, that was the Timberlake.
Was that No Strings Attached?
Yeah, No Strings Attached. Like, that movie was good. Like, it wasn't amazing or anything, but don't get me wrong. Still think Natalie Portman's a better actress than him, but he did a good job. He's a dick in real life, but he can act.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
And the fact that he came from being an underwear model to that 70s show, and then doing some major movies, and then became the spokesperson for a camera. I think he's going to be one of those people, like, he's just living life right now, and he's going to hit, like, 45, and he's going to be like, man, you know what? I need to make the Gray. Or I need to be, what's his name? Fuck.
Liam Neeson?
Yeah, I need to be Liam Neeson. Like, I'm bored. I'm just going to go do shit acting chops back. And Bruce Willis will be dead by that point, so like he can just fill in the Bruce Willis role.
They already did fill in Bruce Willis's role with Demi Moore.
Yeah, and then fuck that up. I think in the same manner too, didn't he?
No, I don't know.
Was it they weren't getting along, or whatever?
Supposedly he cheated on her or whatever.
Oh yeah, I was talking about
I
Bruce
don't know.
Willis.
I don't know if any of that's true. I try not to follow celebrity gossip as much as I can.
I can't help it. Facebook, like shit pops up, and I'm like, "Ooh, Bruce Willis," and I click, and I'm like, "Oh, like what's he in now?" Oh, sadness. Although, really quick, and then we can end this because 30 minutes turned into an hour.
Yep.
The ending of Shield. Did you watch it?
No, I've been trying to wait until it hits Netflix or whatever because Hulu's a piece of dog shit and like wouldn't let me watch the episodes when I had it. It's like you can watch episode 1 and then we're gonna skip you to episode 6.
Gotcha. Spoiler alert, and I won't talk too much about this in that case. I give mass kudos to Samuel L. Jackson.
Does he show up for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
He's in the whole last episode.
Nice!
And, like, I think he shows up, like, in the midway of the show, and then he's there. And I don't think I've seen someone with his clout step out of the movies and into a TV show.
Well, I mean, Kobe Smulders has been on there a couple of times. Agent... Shit, what's her name?
Hand?
No, she was in the other movie. She was in Captain America. She was in the Avengers. Fuck. Can't remember her name.
Okay.
I can only ever remember Agent Coulson. I can never remember any of the other Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because Coulson's a badass. But, I mean...
Agent Maria Hill.
Okay. Well, I'm talking more in the sense of who Samuel L. Jackson is in general. Like, it's really, it's really hard for him not to step in front of a camera and not say motherfucker.
Well, yeah.
Like, even when he gives an award speech, motherfucker is in there. Like, it is guaranteed. And he got up on this TV show, didn't say motherfucker, didn't even allude to motherfucker.
Well, he's done all the other Marvel movies without it too. They're PG-13.
But every time he steps up, he's got that about him. Like, I'm a bad motherfucker.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But
that's why when they drew him in the Ultimates, they decided to base it off of Sam Jackson. To which he was like, "Okay, guys, I won't sue you, but I get to play him in the movie if you ever make a movie."
Sure, why not? But I just hats off to Samuel L. Jackson for doing that. Like, I have so much respect for him. For somebody who, like, if he's hired to do a movie, like, how much are they fucking paying him? Millions on millions of dollars per movie, and he steps into this one episode to play the character from the movie that he has established that he is that person, and they didn't get a double, and they didn't, like, tweak the universe a little bit. Like, they just paid him. Thumbs up, man. I thank you. Yeah. Thank you for not being a dick.
I still need to watch True Detective. I downloaded the entire season of that.
I've heard
now that Shield's done, I'll do all of that too.
Yeah, I've heard it's ridiculously good. Oh, but like I said, won't ruin Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for you. But Sam is in the last episode. Like, I had that moment when I first saw him, because in the scene that he's in, like, the camera angle is a little strange, and I'm like, is that? No. Yeah, no. Is that a double? No. No. And then he starts talking, I'm like, nah, that's Sam. It was just like my brain did not register that he could be in a TV show.
Yeah, I didn't know he was gonna show up in the show. I figured that was a little too low key for him.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I thought. It surprised me. So sorry to take that surprise from you of the initial watch, but it was kind of cool. Respect. We need to stop talking about Marvel so much. Like the last 3 episodes have been Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. Next week, DC.
To be fair, if DC wants us to talk about it, they need to put something out.
Well, okay, we'll bring up Batman and Gotham.
Yeah, we can.
Because that show's getting ready to start, and I don't know how I feel about it, and I don't know if you've gotten into.
I don't know. The trailer looked pretty good.
Did you ever get into Arrow 2?
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch season 2, but
All right.
season 1 was awesome. Is season 2 finished now? Can I finally just download that and marathon it?
Yeah, I think it's done. I stopped watching it, but okay. DC next episode. Why DC is as good? Sure, we'll do that.
Or
anyway.
it could be.
Or could be, yes. And why they're getting more success in television series than they are in movies.
Yeah.
So, next episode's planned. Done. Talk to you later.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Hold
on.
Will also...
Hold on. Hold on. I wasn't recording yet.
God damn you, West.
You are listening to the Nerd Method Podcast with West.
Chris.
And Chris.
Thank you for listening. If you want to get in contact with us, you can find us at the Nerd... Oh, fuck!
Super professional.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
You can find us at thenerdmethod.com, which is our also blog site, but it will have our social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+. So like us, subscribe, share our stuff. We appreciate it.
And if you would like to email us, you can email us at nerdmethodpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks very much for listening. For listening. For listening. For listening. For listening. For listening. For listening.